Hello and welcome to Coming Home with Mama T. I'm your host Tiara, aka Mama T, and on this podcast we explore the journey of creating the life of our desires through mastering manifestation, maintaining a positive mindset, and living luxuriously. And a luxurious part of living in downtown LA is the sounds of the city. So if you hear some helicopters and stuff in the background, I'm sorry, there's no controlling it. I desire to be out here on my balcony in my happy, safe space. So that's what we're doing today. So I hope my mic will amplify my voice and not the other things. But if so, it is what it is and it's all meant to be and it's all perfect. So with that being said, today I really want to dive into the conversation of mirror work and working on ourselves in the mirror as inspired by Michael Jackson. This weekend I was in Las Vegas just hanging out actually. I wasn't doing anything super special, if you will, but I was hanging out, having some fun, and we went and saw the Michael Jackson one show. And I'm pretty sure it's my first ever Cirque du Soleil show. Like, as many shows as I've seen and all of the things, I want to say it was my first official Cirque du Soleil show, and I was so moved, like, watching the show. And I didn't realize how many songs Michael Jackson had that really just like touched my heart, had some sort of impact on at different times of my life and all of that. And two, like, it really just hit me how much I love the performing arts and how important they are to me and how I love them. And it was just like such an inspiring show. Not that I'm gonna go like audition for Cirque du Soleil, not because I don't think that I could make it, but more so that I know that that's not my specific passion. And that ties into the mirror work. One, the song Man in the Mirror, right? Like, we have to make a change. If we're looking to make a change in our life, we have to start from within, starting with ourselves, starting with the man in the mirror. And that is the entire work that I do inside of the home membership, and all of that is really helping us to be more self-aware and responsible for what's going on in our life so that we can make the changes that we're looking to create. And so that song, like, when it came on, it just like super hit, and I was like, yes! And I was like singing along, bopping and doing all the things, and it really hit home for me just how much we have to do this inner work. And it's kind of funny because it popped up after reading some of Louise Hay's books, and she talked about mirror work. And if you're not familiar with mirror work, it's really like it sounds, like just standing in front of a mirror, and removing the word just, but standing in front of the mirror and looking at yourself and saying nice things, honestly, saying affirmations, saying things that you would like to believe about yourself and your experience and your life, and making it a habit and making it a part of your conscious choices so that eventually it becomes part of your subconscious and you're no longer self-sabotaging. What do you mean by that, Tiara? Mama T, explain. So when we move through our life, a lot of times we can go on autopilot, especially if we're doing something like driving or whatever, something that doesn't necessarily require all of our brain to like be like firing off and doing things, right? And so one way to actually make your brain work better longer is to get outside of your box, get outside of the norm, do different things, ask yourself questions, all of that good stuff. And so it is a practice in being conscious. Thinking about traveling, for example, right? So if you're at home all the time, you know your regular route to go to work, you know your regular route to get to the grocery store, you have these habits and these things. And so eventually you get to a place where you're just trusting that, you know, the store's going to be there when you get there. Everything's going to be working out, like you're just trusting. And so then you are able to kind of like disassociate, you know, put on music or talk to a friend or do whatever. And you're not really fully paying attention to what's going on in the world around you. But if you travel, you're going somewhere new, you don't really know the place that well, you have to like look at your Google Maps or your MapQuest or whatever, that's a throwback, right? Whatever, to make sure that you're going in the right direction. You have to like use a little bit more of your brain because you're out of your norm, and that's why you tend to feel more tired when you come home, because you're like, even if you had a most relaxing and fun and exciting time, you have used more of your brain than you normally do in your like day-to-day life if you're not doing something completely different every single day and it's more of a routine. So And talking about the mirror work and talking to ourselves and saying all these affirmations when we're in a conscious state so that we can change our subconscious, that means that when we go into autopilot, that subconscious space, that we're still upholding the things that we're talking about and working on in our conscious mind. So for example, if you're in your mirror and you're like, oh, I am the most beautiful, magnificent, awesome sauce creature in this world, and everything wants to be around me, everything wants to just attract to me, even loud helicopters just want to be in my presence and my space and be a part of my conversations, and I am so thankful for it. And you're saying all these great things in your mirror to yourself, looking yourself in the eyes and like loving on yourself. And then you go out and you're like hanging out with your friends, you're doing your thing, you're out and about, and then like you're having a couple of drinks, and then you might find yourself going back into like autopilot mode. Like your friends are starting to talk about, oh my gosh, I hate this zit on my face, and I hate this, and I'm frustrated with this in my life. And you're like, girl, yes, I'm frustrated with this, and I hate my thighs, and I hate my this and that. And it's just going back into the natural habits that we've built over time with how we talk to people, where we do, like it's just, it becomes ingrained in us. And you know, the best part about being self-aware in this work is noticing when you do it. Right? You're like, oh man, you did the thing, you're at the bar and you said all these horrible things about yourself. You recognize that, oh, well, that didn't stick. That's how I want you to look at it, right? Not like, oh shit, I didn't uphold all the affirmations I said in the mirror. I'm a horrible person. I suck. I failed. No. It's not about winning or failing, success, whatever. It's about learning. It's about growing. It's about making a shift. And it doesn't necessarily happen overnight. It is a practice, just like yoga, right? You have to practice until you land the handstand. And sometimes you land the handstand and then the next time you're like, I got it. And you go and you don't. And you're like, what? I know how to do this. But, you know, your body needs to have that motor memory, right? Like you have to build up that motor memory, just like piano. I remember a piano teacher always saying, it's not practice that makes perfect, it's perfect practice that makes perfect. Meaning, if I was looking at the music and I was sitting in front of my piano and I was doing like an hour every single day, if I wasn't hitting the notes that as it matched the music, and I was off with the rest, or I missed the counts, like it was a whole note but I did it for a quarter note, if I did all these things, but if I kept practicing the quarter note even though there's a whole note there, because I was unconscious, and eventually I got to a place where I had memorized it, my body had memorized the movement to what I had been practicing. When I go back to class, I go to my lesson and I'm doing it, then she would have to pay attention and be like, no, that's a whole note and you're playing a quarter note, you did it wrong. And then you have to now relearn how to do the whole thing and be more conscious in your learning and making sure that you're holding it for that full whole note instead of a quarter note. And that might even seem a little bit harder than just learning it the right way in the beginning. I understand, right? And so as we get older and we get into these habits, we've had some of these habits 20, 30, 40, 50, however many years. Do you think that it's gonna like be so easy to get rid of however many years that we've been through in this lifetime doing the same thing over and over again when we're trying to make a change? So we have to give ourselves the grace, right? We have to give ourselves the grace and the love to be like, okay, I'm aware. And have gratitude for being aware of the shift, right? Like, oh, I'm aware that I said I wanted to be nicer to myself and talk about great things about my body. So next time I'm hanging out with my friends and they go on a downward spiral, that's their thing. That's their life. That's their practice. They're allowed to do that if that's what they desire to do. But you can say, like, oh man, yeah, I get that. It sucks. And you don't have to choose to go on the spiral yourself. You can share what you're working on if you feel like there's somebody that are gonna be uplifting and hold you to it, or if you think that they're gonna be the kind of people that if you're like, oh man, yeah, that sucks, I understand how you feel. You know, for me, I think I'm great, I think I'm wonderful, blah blah blah. And then, you know, if you think that they're gonna be the kind of people that will be like, oh well, you're narcissistic, and blah, blah, blah. If they're not gonna support you and your journey, then you don't have to share. Right? You don't have to share. They get to build their trust. That being said, on a flip side, we also have to be aware of what we're expecting, right? Like if we're wanting to create change in our life, but we're holding expectations of how people will perceive us, how things are happening, we're not allowing the world around us to shift and change, even if we're shifting and changing ourselves. So that's another practice, right? Another practice in not only looking in the mirror and being like, yes, Tiara, you're gorgeous. Yes, Tiara, I love you. You know, you are able to create money out of nothing. Like you make money just by existing. Like everything that you desire easily shows up for you. How can you be just so magical and wonderful? Like you say all these beautiful things to yourself, right? And you're like, okay, I believe it. And it's great to hold on to that belief when you're just sitting in your little like crisscross applesauce meditation pose and you're like, yeah, I'm holding the energy. But we have to live, right? This is the part of life. We're here for this human experience. And so humaning tends to mean that we have to engage with other humans. So we have to make sure that we're holding that consciousness that we're taking from the mirror work, from the being in meditation, from all the things that we can do by ourselves when we're alone, and take it into conversation with partners, conversation with coworkers and friends and family members, and take it with us. Take that energy, not necessarily the conversation, but that energy. How do we hold this sovereignty that we built for ourselves from moment to moment and allow the world to shift around us? That's like the bigger part of the work. That's the practice in the work. Yes. So the practice part, that is what I do inside the home membership. And so I'm inviting you to check out the home membership community, be a part of our fun, our exploration, our celebration in life as we nurture our minds, our bodies, our spirits, and then we put into practice upholding all of that nurturing that we've done on our own or within our lovely little community and taking it out into the world. Yes? That is the goal, right? We're shifting and changing each and every cell of our body. We're making sure we're holding that love, that compassion for ourselves and the world around us in every single cell of our body. And then we're practicing making sure that we're conscious as we move moment to moment. And when there's something that happens that you're like, oh, that was an old version of myself coming back forward, I can recognize that's an old version and I don't want to be that version of me anymore. So you know what? Cool. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for allowing me to know that you're still in there. And now I get to choose to make a shift. And you can make a shift just that quickly, right? By acknowledging it and saying, cool, thank you, I release you, let it go, and then moving forward. You can even go as far as to change whatever it is that you said. I've noticed sometimes I'll be out and I'll say something like, I don't know, like, oh man, life is so hard or whatever. I'm on the struggle bus today. And I'll say something like that. And then, like, actually, no, taking it back. I want to get off this bus. I don't want to be here. Life is easy. Life is hard. I don't know why I said that, but that's an old version. Like, I will literally stop myself in conversation and like tell myself something different. And you know what I noticed? That people around me don't care. Well, not that they don't care. It's not weird to them. Like the people around me, like if I thought that someone was gonna like be like, what is wrong with you? No, like nobody does anything. They're just like, okay, that's a Tiara-ism. She's gonna do that thing. That's what Mama T does, right? This is the work that she's here for, and they accept it. Yeah. The world around me, as I'm accepting myself, the world around me is accepting me, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. And eventually, I can do that in front of somebody, and somebody will be like, oh my gosh, I love how you just changed that. How can I work with you, right? Like that can be like, not that I'm saying it just so someone will ask me to work with me. No, I'm saying it for myself. We do the work for ourselves, and then we watch the world change around us, right? We do it for me, and then it turns into something that is for you. And then our whole work together turns into something that is for the world, right? It's like, it's magic how it works out. But we have to start from within, right? This is our home space, right? Our minds, our bodies, our spirits, this coming home to ourselves right here, right now. Making sure that we are the versions of ourselves that we truly want to be, and carrying that version with us throughout this world. And bringing it all back full circle. So this is beautiful. So with that, I invite you, if you're not already, to please like, share, subscribe this episode, follow the podcast, turn on your notifications, all of that good stuff. And if you're interested in being a part of the home membership, that is a community that I host over on Facebook. And in that space, you can expect group coaching Q&As. You can expect recipes and food, some movement, some spiritual and ritual work, from meditations to activations. And I might even bring in some of the ritual stuff that I like to do in my own personal practice and share with you. But also it is a space for you to share yourself, really like fully practicing that acceptance of self and sharing who you are, sharing, if you have rituals that you want to talk about or whatever, you can go live, you can post a picture, all of that stuff. It is a space to truly connect with people that are loving, with people that are accepting, with people that are ready to help facilitate and support you as you take radical self-responsibility for the journey that you are on and the experience that you are having, so that we can have an extraordinary life together. With that, I will say ta-ta for now. I love you so, so much. Links and descriptions are all in the show notes, so you can check out there. And of course, it's www.MamaTEnergy.com. Love you.